What up? Welcome to Gamentai. This is Jedi Jay, and I'm here to talk to you about another accessory. This time, the Game Boy player for the Nintendo Gamecube. This thing, well, the Gamecube itself, pretty sweet. People call it an underpowered console, but it has some really sweet things, like the Game Boy player. What it allowed you to do, obviously, play Game Boy Advance games on your television screen, which was a huge step up for me because I love the Game Boy Advance, but I got really tired of playing it on that tiny screen on your Game Boy Advance. Things got a little better with the SP. You got that front lit screen, but still, there was nothing like playing these titles on your big screen because it felt like you were playing new Super Nintendo games, my favorite era. So, how did this thing work? Well, basically, it's almost identical hardware to the Game Boy Advance itself, and the form factor fits the GameCube perfectly. Slaps right on the bottom of this thing through one of the serial ports. So, we've got 3 serial ports. Some of them are used for a high-speed modem, but the one you use for the Game Boy player is called the high-speed port. There's a bunch of parallel ports on the bottom of this thing. Just clack it in. It fits in nice and snug, too. And it's like my GameCube's a mech now. Looks better. But, as you can see, it didn't just play Game Boy games. Well, it didn't just play Game Boy Advance games. You could play Game Boy games on here. Play Game Boy Color. Who doesn't like Game Boy Color? And Game Boy Advance titles. So, what was really cool, I thought, was the fact that there was some software that you could set on the actual Game Boy player to reduce like screen flicker and some issues that you might have come across when blowing up the smaller Game Boy Advance titles on the bigger screen. And it had a series of like borders and filters you could apply too to make the game just look a little bit better on your television. Those are really sweet because some of the games you wanted to change that setting and it actually made a difference. And you could full screen it, border it like I was talking about. And I really liked some of the borders. It made it look really sweet. And not only that, the thing was compatible with like a bunch of accessories for the Game Boy Advance as well. So when I originally started using my Game Boy player, I tried it out on a couple different televisions. I tried it on my Capital Read Tube television, tried it on an LCD screen. I gotta say, I like the way it looked on the Capital Read Tube a lot better. On the flip side, after I got my Game Boy player, I wanted to start doing silly things with it. Like, I bought some accessories for the Game Boy Advance that you could actually use on the Game Boy player as well. One of them was you could use a Game Boy Advance as a controller by plugging in one of these link cables into that thing and then plug it into your controller port. That worked out pretty well. Also compatible with link cables. I went as far as to purchase 2 copies of this particular game, Double Dragon Advance, so I could play it co-op with a friend. That game was really, really sweet. So when you actually buy a Game Boy player, the thing came with a startup disc, a boot disc. If you don't have this, it won't work. So what I like about it, it comes in this nice, neat little case. Later on, I found out that this is how the GameCube games came out in Japan, in these nice, neat little cases. I think that's cool. Like, take up less space. I really like that form factor better. But just like anything else, any other game, you'd have to slap it in there. And then turn on the GameCube with the Game Boy Advance game inserted, or Game Boy Color game inserted, and then power it on. So the way they inserted on the bottom here, when I first got this thing, I thought, how do I get it out? And I was constantly, like lifting it up, prying it out. There's an eject button on this thing. I felt so stupid for not realizing that at first. But when it came right down to it, I didn't pick this thing up when it first came out. I picked it up a few years later, around, I want to say I picked mine up about 2005 or so. This thing was released, I believe in Japan in like March of 2003, and then later in Europe and North America in June of 2003. And like, I was aware of it. I wanted one as soon as I saw them, because the Game Boy Advance was one of my favorite systems because it kind of harkens back to my favorite era, and I already had a ton of titles for the Game Boy Advance. So it was almost like a no-brainer. As soon as I found one that was like used for a cheaper price, I picked it right up. And it was compatible with accessories, man. There's not a whole lot of accessories that I would have to say I really, really invested in the Game Boy Advance, but I thought one of them was cool is the e-reader. I mean, Problem is, I never found the e-reader cards. But I have one in case I ever come across them in the future. So that was cool. Plus, like I was saying earlier, compatible with the link cables. You can actually play multiplayer stuff. Outside of that, I can't really say much else about it outside of the fact that it's really sweet to be able to play these Game Boy Advance titles on your big screen, because on a couch with a controller in my hand, that's the way to go. So I'm just going to have to end it right here because I'm going to have to tell you thank you for watching Gamentai. Okay, so that's it for this video, guys. Take a second, rate, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching Gamentai.